Here to weigh in is Timothy Head, Executive Director of Faith and Freedom Coalition. Timothy, good to see you. I'll paint this for you. Slot machines still ringing. Church pews remain mostly empty. What message in Nevada is this sending to the American people? What are your thoughts?
Well, maybe we need to start having churches in casinos. Maybe the Governor Sisolak in Nevada would actually allow that to move forward. What it really is saying is money is significant for the governor and for the state of Nevada, and unfortunately, faith and belief is a lot less significant.
What are you hearing from others around you about things like this? This is a major sticking point when you hear this. 50% in casinos is fine. 50 people, no more than that at a church. But we've seen this attack on churches with these new restrictions in almost every state. What are you hearing on your end? How long is this going to go on before we see some constitutional lawsuit happening? I know there are many of them happening, but one of them's got to be pinnacle to have our leaders stop this.
Well, you know, it certainly is concerning that this Nevada restriction is in place. But frankly, what's more concerning to me is the Supreme Court's lack of the case that you're talking about right here is the Supreme Court's decision to not take up the case. And so 5 of the justices just declined to take up the case. To your question of what is it going to take, I think that some of the justices seem to believe that this is such an exigent or kind of emergency situation that there could be brief pause of constitutional rights. But at least four justices on the Supreme Court say there are no excuses to pause constitutional rights. And so our hope is that Justice Roberts starts maybe having a little more lunch with the other conservative justices and realizes the Constitution actually has no bounds, regardless of what COVID or any other unusual circumstance may present.
Yeah, and again, the protests are supported by your state and local leaders. 100%. Doesn't matter how many you have out there, and they'll paint your slogans out there if you want them to. But again, they come down hard on the church, and they're all protected under the same constitutional protections. But for some reason, they're treated differently. It's hard to see. And Jim Jordan, the representative Jim Jordan, has tweeted out about this morning. And it's interesting. He's driving his point, but look at what he writes here. He says places COVID-19 thrives according to Democrats. Church, work, school, voting booths, bars after 10 p.m. Places COVID-19 ceases to exist according to Democrats. Protests, liquor stores, marijuana shops, bars before 10 p.m. And now you can add casinos to it. And I wonder.
Well, apparently so. So we're in a situation where there is rampant, and I think at this point for most Americans, obvious selective enforcement on this. There is a legitimate health concern that's happening across the country, but when you see absolutely just arbitrary, not only arbitrary, but even erratic enforcement, 1 week or 2 weeks on, and then we're going to walk back enforcement on the exact same scenarios. There really is, I think a lot of people are absolutely fed up with the erratic nature of the enforcement of this and the clear politicization and bias that's rampant at this point.
Well, that's why the Faith and Freedom Coalition exists, to help those people have a voice that maybe don't have strong enough when they can come together with your organization. And we appreciate you coming on, because this topic is not going anywhere, most likely until November 4th. So we'll be... Yeah.
The restrictions will not, the bias will not, but as you just said, our belief is that Christians and people of faith have to bond together and actually speak in unison on this.
Thank you for what you do, and I appreciate that you sharing with the viewers, and I know they care as well. Timothy Head, Executive